And it's also good that we are speaking to ourselves about this key issue. It's also good that we are shining the torchlight on governors, especially with the strategy of sensing and influencing of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has provided more interventions to state governors within the 2 years of his administration, more than any other administration in the Fourth Republic. I dare anybody to argue that. And he...
Hello and what's up, guys? In this video, respected Northern Voice has dropped a bomb on Nigeria's political system, and this time he is not holding back. Malam Baba Yusuf, a well-known policy advisor, has exposed a hidden truth many Nigerians are afraid to say out loud. The real enemies of Nigeria's economy are not in Asu Rock, they are in the state government houses. According to him, while civil servants can't afford food, parents are pulling kids out of school and pensioners are dying without their entitlements. Some governors are spending billions on luxury mansions, cars, and government complexes. One state spent 63 billion naira on government house renovation during a time of deep poverty and inflation. And here is the shocking part. President Tinubu has given governors more funds and support than any other president in the Fourth Republic. Yet, many are still failing their people. Baba Yusuf says most governors are acting like feed and bottle babies, refusing to take responsibility, always shifting blame to Abuja while abandoning their constitutional duty to develop their own states. Only a few like Lagos, Abia, Enugu, and Borno are trying to change the game. But out of 36, less than 10 are actually delivering results. He goes deeper, blaming the collapse of our value system, the rise of identity politics, and the hypocrisy of elites who criticize when it suits them and stay silent when it doesn't. He even warns, let the elites remember the French Revolution. The tsunami is coming, and when it comes, it won't spare anybody. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
All right, we've heard stories of civil servants struggling to meet basic needs, parents pulling children out of school due to rising costs, and pensioners waiting months, sometimes years, for entitlements. All while state governments and state governors spend billions on opulent government houses, luxury cars, and new legislative complexes. Now, the report shared by the US Embassy, originally published by the Africa Report, lays it bare. Despite President Tinubu's call for sacrifice, many state governors appear to be living in a completely different reality, one that's insulated from the suffering of everyday citizens. From Oyo State, 63 billion naira government house renovation to Gombe's 14.9 billion naira ultra-modern mansion, all in a time of soaring inflation, deepening poverty. The big question remains, is this leadership or self-indulgence? Now, to help us dig deeper into this troubling pattern and its wider implications on governance, fiscal responsibility, and public trust, we are now joined by Malam Baba Yusuf, a respected strategist, policy advisor, and group CEO of the Global Investment and Trade Company. Malam Yusuf brings decades of experience advising institutions on sustainable development and effective governance. He joins us now to provide insight on what this spending trend tells us about Nigeria's political culture, and more importantly, what should be done to realign leadership with the needs of the people. Malam Baba Yusuf, you're welcome to Daybreak. Thank you for being here.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we've heard all of this with these recent expenditures that are meant to happen. What do you think Nigeria's political culture is when it comes to, governance, expenditure, fund management, as well as, people or the public interest? You could see there are lots of states that haven't changed in the past 20 years, and you would wonder what is going on. So could you elaborate a little bit on what you've seen and, a little bit of experience when it comes to governance as well and financial management?
I think it all boils down to the leadership recruitment process. How you can't give what you don't have. Period.
Absolutely.
People ascend position of power, whether at federal or state level, that have no business being in that office. Simplicity. And from there on, you cannot expect anything tangible. And that is the tragedy of our evolution as a polity. But it's good that the consciousness of Nigerians is increasing. And it's also good that we are speaking to ourselves about this key issue. It's also good that we are shining the torchlight on governors, especially with the strategy of sensing and influencing of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has provided more interventions to state governors within the 2 years of his administration, more than any other administration in the Fourth Republic. I dare anybody to argue that. And he is smart enough to make it clear by putting the numbers for everybody to see. From the increased 2 to 3 folds of the monthly allocation, fact allocation they are getting due to the removal of subsidy, to critical intervention, either due to disaster or due to contain, the palliative measures by Mr. President, whatnot. To the extent that what I coined in one of my write-ups to say, what we are having more than ever, doesn't start now, but we are having more and more feeding bottle governors in Nigeria. Governors that have refused to be adults, governors that have refused to take responsibility. They go to the podium and shout and promise all milk and honey, which is typical of politicians. But they are dropping the ball more than any other governor in the history of this country. Of course, except for a few. From governors that have inherited what I call complications, of toxic ethno-tribal and religious sentiments and piling debt in Kaduna, where Excellency Obasani is struggling to grapple with that, while he's trying to also steer the state, on the right course, to one of the most pragmatic governors in this administration, Professor Umar Zulum, who is providing governance in one of the most almost impossible situations, to a Babajide Sanwo-Olu who is dealing with urbanization and the demand for scale of a state that is almost like a country, in other, parts of Africa. If you look at the economic scale of Lagos, of course, to Abia also, where you have a governor trying to constructively disrupt and try to provide interventions in terms of urbanization. Enugu State governor also, you can see across party lines, you have governors that are delivering. But you can count with one hand or 1.5, 5 fingers or less than 10 fingers, how many governors are actually the champions of this administration? If you can compare with 36 governors and Abuja, and that, it's unacceptable. So I like the fact that Mr. President is speaking to them. Of course, if he goes beyond that, he will be accused of overreaching and overbearing and breaching the principles of separation of powers. During this conversation, we are going to evaluate the situation and proffer maybe the best way forward, because these governors will continue this way. But I will land with this as a poser for the governors. Right. Governors that have led their states 8 years, 16 years ago, or even 4 years ago, go and look at how they are living. And that speaks volume with regards to what Providence has in store for governors that fail their people. They have become glorified personal assistants to the governors that have, came after them, or they are now fighting daggers drawn as if they don't have any other job. It is despicable, it is precarious, and it shouldn't be acceptable.
All right. You earlier mentioned that you cannot give what you do not have. Yeah. And there are lots of them, as you mentioned. But then when it comes to, a lot of the governors that we've had in the past, there are lots of them that, have performed, should I say, atrocities, whereby there isn't any accountability when it comes to it. So do you believe that that is the kind of culture that we have here in Nigeria, or is it that nobody can be held accountable due to the fact that there isn't that structure that is there?
Okay, there are 3 causative factors, as far as I'm concerned, and I've written about it, that brought us to where we are today. What I call the progressive retrogression of Nigeria at federal and subnationals. And what do I mean? The progression of a well digger. In Hausa language, we ask, they ask the well digger, how far? He said, we are going far. I mean, sir, we've gone far. But how far to a well digger is going deeper into the ground? Absolutely. Except he hits water, it's disaster. He may die there. And that is the progressive retrogression of Nigeria. The 3 causative factors are: 1, I talked about the leadership recruitment process. But before the leadership recruitment process is the erosion of our value system. Wow. That is the fundamental factor, that all of us are part of the problem. I talked about the hypocrisy of the expectations of Nigeria in one of my writings in book, and I said, we expect angels to come and lead people that are highly corrupt right from the household, Hawa. A young person that goes out there, either as a public servant or as a petty trader, whether a lady or a boy, comes with a big car with a lot of money, nobody asks where it is coming from. A society where politicians bring money to mosques and churches, albeit we know that they are stolen funds, and we collect and praise them to the high heavens. Either we give them the first sahu in the mosque, which is the front row, or the front seat in the church. It's a society that is hypocritical. It's a society that is asking for what they cannot get, because indeed our leaders are a reflection of who we are. Okay? Absolutely. So it starts from there. From you and I and all of us to understand that leadership is not a function of a magician coming to sit at the behest of the people and wave a magic wand and everything disappears. When in our homes, in our communities, right, in the mosque, we are pilfering the purse of the mosque, we are pilfering the mosque in the church, the purse in the church and in the schools and everywhere. The value systems have eroded. We cannot expect somebody from America to come and lead us. If Lee Kuan Yew comes to Nigeria, he will be hamstrung to deliver. He either resigns or he becomes what I call an entrapped leader that is encircled by the conspiracy of the elites, or he dies a miserable death of frustration. So we need to address that. And then secondly, identity politics. We try to gloss over this and we try to glamorize that and say what you call it, unity in diversity and all that. And that is part of the hypocrisy. We are a highly polarized society along ethnic, tribal and religious lines. And unless we address those fundamental issues of equity, of justice, of fairness, right, of tolerance, we cannot deal with the issue of governance the way we are expecting it to happen. And that is why the elites like us play the game of divide and rule. You can only play divide and rule if the people have become victims, or they have become they are led by the nose of identity politics. Identity politics is driving global politics, by the way. So I'm not saying that it is a local issue. It is actually an international issue. But for those that have progressed, are those that have put it on the table and addressed it the way it should be addressed. Unless you do that, you see it happening at federal level, but even at state level. Imagine the rotation of governorship among senatorial districts is an issue. That a predominant tribe in a state will continue to hold sway and refuse others to have an opportunity is an issue. So whether that person is delivering or is not delivering, the majority of the people that are the people will die. We will lead them like Pharaoh of Moses into the Red Sea and sink, just because their own is leading. If one of them is being prosecuted for corruption, whether as former governor or as a former president or as a former CBN governor, the people from his village and the people of his church will say, leave him alone. So those are the fundamental issues. If we really need to deal with this, without just excusing the governors, I have a big keg of gunpowder for them, because to whom much is given, much is expected.
Absolutely. All right. You mentioned everything starts from the people.
Yeah.
Our governors, our leaders come from the people.
Yeah.
So how do we fix this rot? Our morals, our values are shot, because at the end of the day, even if we need to hold those in power, accountable for whatever it is that they do for the benefit of the people, for, public interest, at the end of the day, as you said, it starts from the people. Where do we start from? And then we transition into how do we fix the leadership?
The elites have a core responsibility to start behaving like they are part of Nigeria, and start behaving like they fear God, and start behaving like they will go and meet to account for what they have done. What am I saying? The elites, I've written about the elites many times in my column on The Nation Friday, every back page of the paper on Fridays, and I've gotten backlashes. And I have no apologies because I'm a son of the elites, and I'm an elite, with all humility. And it is my responsibility to continue speaking in that direction. In every society, we belong to what they call the ratio of possibly 20-80. 20% of our people drive development and change. Those 80% are looking up to us. We are the permanent secretaries, we are the DGs, we are the CEOs, we are the ministers, right? We are the judges, we are the Senate presidents and the senators, whatnot. We are the technocrats, we are the business people, we are the clerics, we are the traditional rulers. And yet, we do not have a voice when it comes to critical issues. We have selective...
Is it by choice?
It's by choice, absolutely. That's what I call the conspiracy of the elites. If you read my write-up, I talked about when when it pleases us, we speak out against maybe a government, and when it does not, we communicate a loud silence. And when it pleases us, we tell our people, for example, as a Muslim, it's against Islam to rebel against government. It's against Islam to talk against government. The same people that tomorrow will change that tone and tell you that you have a responsibility because of the hadith of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you see something happening wrong, you should use your physical prowess to deal with it, or verbal prowess to deal with it, or at least feel bad about it. Now, this hypocrisy of the elites is what has led us to here, because the shoe shiner and the cobbler and the motorcycle rider look up to us. Like I said, leadership is a value chain.
Absolutely.
And when I talked about the concept of the entrapped leader, even when a governor wants to deliver, the same people will tell you that this man is Akagom, he's not giving us money. So from that perspective, you have already promoted corruption. So the people creating awareness and the subconscious of our people from the point of view of the clerics, whether it is Islamic clerics, Christian clerics, traditional rulers, to know they have a responsibility to do that. Traditional rulers have become more or less cosmetic. They have lost their voices because they don't want to lose their turbans or whatever it is, because when you speak, you may likely receive an impeachment notice, and because you feel you cannot survive without it, you remain like that. But guess what? The reality will kill all of us. Today, insecurity does not know any traditional ruler. Traditional rulers have been killed, politicians have been killed, businessmen are being killed, along with the teeming number of the masses. But what it tells us, the elite, is that the tsunami is coming. And when it comes, it's going to swallow all of us. Because it is so bad that even if our second cousins are going through this, we don't just care. So creating that awareness and pushing back against corruption when I'm a CEO or a DG is the starting point. People knew that at the top echelon of my CEO position some years ago, I resigned and I left my position. And some of my key friends said, I am crazy. Why should I leave based on principle? They asked me as elites, what is principle? The other guy that was my close friend said, what will you eat in the next 6 months? And I consider it so unfortunate, because what happened to your tawheed, to your faith? Water down the bridge, I have 6 companies are running today, with another one outside Nigeria, to the glory of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our fixation on corruption is the reason why those guys will continue doing what they are doing, and the selective amnesia of the elites. We have governors or people that came to say President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the Messiah. And all Nigerians, especially northern Nigerians, those northern political leaders told us President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the way to go. 6 months down the line, those same people did an about face to say President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is evil. Now, this insult on the sensitivities and sensibilities of Nigeria is a reflection of the hypocrisy of the elites. But more importantly, is for us to call out these people. It is so bad that the elites don't even go to do voting. We don't have voters' cards, we don't elect. Well, guess what? 60% of appointments at federal level and state level are the elites who never voted. So from the beginning, ab initio, the person is not a stakeholder from the point of view of delivering good governance. He's just a stakeholder to hold the stake and get his own share. And that is the issue. But guess what? If a family can accept that kind of person the way he or she is, then that community should continue eating dust. Because if, as a CEO, I will send money twice to my mother, may God bless her soul, and she will tell me, thank you very much, but like I keep telling you, you are not under pressure, please hold that trust, don't put your hand, consistently till the day she gave up, she passed away, may God bless her soul, tells you the responsibility of parents and people and family of values. And if those values are not communicated in our mosques, in our churches, and in action we reject it, and it becomes an abomination like it was many, many years ago, to the extent that collecting loan in Igbo land, in Yoruba land, in Hausa land, you are not able to pay your debt, proper debt, you escape the society out of what? Stigma. Not to talk of theft, not to talk of this kind of abomination, that governors will go condemn a state heavily indebted, and you have the voice to even challenge another government. Speaks volume about how bad things are. It starts with change of value system, and it starts from me and you. God has given us the consciousness and the ability to think. Secondly, the elites are part of the leadership value chain. They should start doing their job. They should wake up to responsibility and not conspiring when it suits them. We had a Northern Forum arrangement that happened a couple of weeks ago, Some of them are saying it is good. Some of them are saying it's bad. You ask yourself the question, why are they divided in their voices if they really mean well for the people? After all, day before yesterday, they were all on the same side. So what is important is for us to move beyond hypocrisy as citizens and as elites. Unless we do that and speak to the issues, we will be talking about this, and our children and our grandchildren, only God knows if our grandchildren will have a Nigeria to answer to.
All right. There's been a lot of uproar when it comes to governance in Nigeria. So far, we say it's been a bit beyond the 2-year mark. And instead of focusing on governance, everyone's focus is on the 2027 election. All right. And with that, and with the reckless expenditure from governors and, the people in dire need of, help and a reform of the whole system, our healthcare is shut, education is shut, every infrastructure is shut as well. When it comes to agriculture, it's supposed to be boosted as well. How do you think leadership can be realigned and the focus to move back to what is important and necessary for the needs of the people in Nigeria?
If it is too late, and it's not too late, it's first of all for respective governors to have their priorities. Their priorities will not be the same. The priority of His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu will never be the same with the priorities of the governor of Kano State, for example. So the priorities must be set properly. And I don't know how many of the governors actually, truly, in real sense, in their private moment, in reality, have a strategy blueprint as at the time they come into office. They have a vision for the state, but the vision, have they translated it into a blueprint and a roadmap? And having done that 2 years down the line, are they able to fully, properly, sincerely, in their own personal moment, evaluate their performance with their team to say, this much we have done, this much we need to do, here we drop the ball. And to be able to say, how do we refine that, and to be able to upscale and deliver for the next 2 years to justify why you should have a second term, or those that are having second term to talk about legacy. Now, that is the critical issue for the governors. So my advice for them is to review. But of course, that is a function of the demand of the people. If the people that hire you are okay with you doing what you are doing and all they can do is sound out, well, it's fine. Nobody can push you. Human beings need somebody to push them to deliver. And there should be consequence management to that effect. And consequence management is, you have seen that Governor A did not deliver and he couldn't even survive the 4 years because of uproar. And after the 4 years, he was kicked out by the people. If that does not happen, people are sitting pretty. The governors of Nigeria, I call them the superpowers of Nigeria. You see a situation of a tail wagging the dog, in a manner of speaking. Governors controlling presidents, directly or indirectly. Not in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's trying to push back. But we've seen it in previous administrations. They have become like emperors, controlling their zones for whatever they will get. Sometimes, even when the president wants to do the right thing, they conspire and ensure it doesn't deliver, except for a few of them that are in minority that will continue trying to see what they can achieve in the interest of their people at the subnational and at the federal level. So it's a function of the priority of the governor. And the moment the person is given the mandate, there's little or nothing you can do except to continue pushing, talking, demanding for accountability. Because at the federal level, he has immunity, the president has immunity, you cannot hold them to account beyond what you are doing. But the critical thing is the referendum of election. And when that time comes, for Nigerians to remember, where I come from, Kano State, people are eating tafasa. People are going beyond, you can't even find anything in the dustbin. People are falling and dying out of depression and frustration.
Well, the Kano State governor said that they've done almost 90% of their manifesto.
Well, I am saying this using Kano as an example, but it is a preponderance of it mostly in northern Nigeria. It could be a function of the failure of the state government. It could be a function of the failure of the federal government, or a function of the two. But the issue is this: the people that are suffering this are the same people that will be hoodwinked into voting people that have not delivered. I have an excuse for those majority of the masses, because at the point of that bottom of the pyramid, survival is the only focus. And that is why the elites still have that responsibility. If not, let them remember the French Revolution. Let them remember the Russian Revolution, where the elites had to be looking for how to dress like the poor people to escape the wrath of the people. I'm not calling out on people to go against the government in revolution, but the Arab Spring is a recent, example. And of course, the Sudan, meltdown after Omar al-Bashir speaks volume on what will happen when people have nowhere to go when you push them too far.